I think we'll be okay. Did you go back today or tomorrow or?
It was today, but as I was telling Kathy, I go. My son didn't have school.
Alicia, I think I got the.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'll email it too.
I'd like to convene the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board here on Tuesday, January 3rd. The Secretary, please call the roll.
Commissioner Thompson.
Here.
Commissioner Schaefer.
Here.
Commissioner Olson. Commissioner Musich.
Present.
Commissioner Menz.
Here.
Commissioner Elper.
Present.
Commissioner Abene.
Present.
Vice President Smith.
Here.
President Forney.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. So we have a historical presentation this evening by our wonderful, wonderful David C. Smith, who wrote our book. And I'll note that Commissioner Olson is present. And so, David, if you would like to, if you would like to share with you words of wisdom from our past, I would really appreciate it. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be back. It's been a long time since I've been in the building, which I used to visit pretty much daily, but it's fun to see some old faces. You know, rather than talk about a full 140 years in my 5 minutes, I'm going to do three things, all briefly. One is congratulate you on your efforts to protect and develop our park system. You have a tremendous responsibility, and you follow in the footsteps of many truly visionary commissioners who overcame tremendous obstacles at times to create a superb amenity, perhaps the defining amenity not only for the city, but for the state. Two, I want to give you a little background on an important acquisition of the Park Board. Charles Loring wrote in his diary in late 1885 about the effort to acquire the eastern shore of Lake Calhoun, now Bede-Makaska now, as a shore drive. This is what he wrote. This proposition met with strong opposition on the board, and Mr. Wilson and I had a hard fight before we succeeded in carrying it. We took Commissioner Oswald in a boat to show him the beautiful banks, and at last he yielded. Loring's matter-of-fact tone makes it sound easy, but let's consider some details. Loring was one of the leading Republicans in the city. In 1882, he had run for mayor and lost narrowly. Party politics at that time were no more civil in many respects than they are now. Republicans and Democrats not playing nice is nothing new. At the 1858 Constitutional Convention that created the state of Minnesota, the two parties were so at each other's throats that they had to convene in different hotels and send runners back and forth with messages. Eugene Wilson, to whom Loring referred, was taking Commissioner Oswald out on the boat, was one of the city's leading Democrats. He had served 2 terms as mayor, once defeating Loring's best friend, George Brackett, and another time defeating another Loring confidant, Doralice Morrison. Wilson had also lost a bitter campaign for Congress against another of Loring's closest friends, William King. Loring and Wilson had both been named to the original park board by the state legislature and which had appointed 6 commissioners of each party. Despite their political differences, Loring and Wilson agreed on the importance of acquiring a strip of land along the lake. The man they had to convince to vote with them was John Oswald, another commissioner appointed by the legislature. Oswald, too, was a Democrat, an ally of Wilson, but on the opposite side of the political fence from Loring. To make things worse, Oswald made his living as a liquor distributor, and Loring's campaign for mayor had a strong temperance component. So they not only disagreed on politics, but Loring's beliefs probably threatened Oswald's livelihood. So the 3 of them went out in the boat, on the water in a rowboat, and most significantly, all 3 came back to shore in the rowboat. Not only was nobody thrown overboard, but the 3 commissioners came to an agreement on a critical park issue. I can picture Charles Schumer and Nancy Pelosi trying to throw Mitch McConnell into the drink, or Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell trying to drown Nancy Pelosi. But Loring, Wilson, and Oswald set aside personal and political differences for the good of the park system. I know you are not divided by political party these days, but nonetheless, I'm also sure you have diverging opinions on many issues. And I hope that you can all find ways to all come back to shore in the boat and reach compromises that continue to protect and enhance our park system. A final thought. Nowhere in the park system is Horace William Shaler Cleveland's name commemorated. That is a shameful oversight, in my opinion. Several years ago, a resolution was passed to name some property along the river for Cleveland, but nothing has come of it to my knowledge. I wish you would carry that forward. I think the 140th anniversary of his suggestions for a system of parks for Minneapolis would be an appropriate time to do that. And while you're at it, you might find some spot along the river to name for Al Whitman. He was the former assistant superintendent of parks. When researching park history, I heard many people who were involved in the development of riverfront parks state that Al played a significant role in getting that done. Most people said he was the most important person in developing our riverfront park system. I think it would be appropriate to acknowledge his foresight as well, with a park property or feature named for him. That's all for me. I would always be willing to answer questions from any of you. And one thing that some of you may not know about is I still maintain a website at minneapolisparkhistory.com, which has a lot of in-depth stories about various parks and people involved. So I invite you to look at that. If you have a question, feel free to contact me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. You are a treasure for all of us. We so appreciate you, first of all, doing the initial history, but also coming back again. And my hope is that we can continue to honor this 140 years this year. So we might be bringing you back again for other comments. So with that, we will move into the election of officers. And the first item is for president. Any nominations for president? Commissioner Abene.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Forney to serve as our president once again.
Second.
Thank you. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Seeing none other. All those in favor of the nomination, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I'm going to take a moment, if I can, to just make a couple of comments. Sorry. First of all, I'm grateful for your confidence in me to be your president again this year, especially going into our 140th year of representing our community to acquire, improve, maintain parkland per the Park Act of 1883. Thank you, Dave Smith, for enlightening our presentation to kick off 2023. 140 years is basically equivalent to 7 generations, a native wisdom of stewardship and sustainability. Decisions we make today will benefit our descendants 140 years from now. The Quora's great law of peace, is in every deliberation, every decision, we must consider the impact on the 7th generation, even if it requires having skin as thick as the bark of a pine. Here in our 7th generation, we look back at the action of people living in balance with the world around them, thinking and acting long term. A generation can be interpreted differently. Some see it as 25 years. The Lakota consider one generation to be 100 years. For sociologists, it varies between 15 and 25 years, as in the greatest generation, the baby boomers, or Gen Xers, or Gen Zers. Since so much of our local park world is governed by the Met Council, and they require us to plan every 20 years, our parks have sustained 7 generations. Another variation of seven-generation thinking places ourselves in the middle of the 7 generations, reflecting on the lifespan of both before and after ours. What can we imagine of our great-grandparents to our great-grandchildren? Each perspective of 7-generation thinking focuses on the innate thread which links us across time, how we are the result of 7 generations prior, and we have to impact on those who still exist 7 generations away from us in the future. Lastly, there is yet another interpretation for members of this park board. Reflect on last year's huge learning curve regarding governance. Now take those skills, learn for implementation, to guide this year's decisions as well as next year's actions to meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. We have inherited the consequences of previous decisions. May we pass on the good consequences of our 7th generation. With that, I will move on to our next nomination, which is for Vice President. Any nominations? Commissioner Menz.
I'd like to nominate current Vice President Alicia Smith.
I would like to second that.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That action carries. On to our secretary. Is anybody going to nomination for secretary? Commissioner Musich, sorry.
Thank you, President Forney. I would like to nominate, well, first I'd like to ask a question, if that's okay.
Yes.
Secretary Ringgold, are you willing to serve as our board secretary for yet another year?
President Forney, Commissioner Musich, yes, thank you.
Wonderful, thank you so much. I would like to place into nomination Jennifer Ringgold as our board secretary.
Second. Thank you. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That action carries as well. Congratulations, Secretary Ringgold. Okay, on to the selection of our board attorney. We need to nominate our board attorney. Commissioner Musich.
I would like to place into nominate, do I put the firm or the person? The firm.
The firm, okay, thank you.
This is where I should have written this
Mosley
down.
and
Rice, Mosley,
And Walters.
and Walters? Oh, sorry, Rice, Walther, and Mosley?
Okay, any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Not seeing any more? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And action carries. On then to Planning Commission. That is a 2-year term, so we do not need to hold any election on that. Commissioner Elper will continue to serve, representing us here at the Park Board. So we do, though, have the Board of Estimate and Taxation. Any nominations for Board of Estimate and Taxation? Commissioner Musich.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Benny to serve as our representative on the Board of Estimate and Taxation.
Second.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Not seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That action carries. Congratulations, Commissioner Benny. Okay, on to then appointments. Then I will point out who vindicated in interest, first of all. Sometimes there was a little competition, but hopefully people will be happy with this. For the Metro Blue Line Extension LRT Corridor Management Committee, Commissioner Olson. Alternate is Commissioner Thompson. For the Cedar Riverside Partnership is Commissioner Elper. See now for Internal Audit Committee, it is Commissioner Abene. And I did say Olson, didn't I, for Metro? I just wanted to make sure I said that right. Yeah, okay. For the Lake Street Greenway Partnership, it is Commissioner Elper. Do I need to say staff? I don't think I need to say the staff again. No. Okay, anyway. Then to the Minneapolis Institute of Arts Board, Stephanie, Commissioner Musich. On to the Minneapolis Parks Foundation is Commissioner Thompson. I need to tell everybody that the Minneapolis Tree Advisory Committee was probably the most difficult, and I just want everybody to know that this committee has drafted new changes to the makeup of that committee. So we might want to convey to them, first of all, there was just such really incredible applicants. So I might frustrate some people, but I please know that we will retain your applications. And if they increase the board membership, we will be looking at that again. So as far as the commissioner, it will be Commissioner Menz. Our citizen appointment at large is Barb Schleffler. The citizen appointee for Commissioner District 1 is Chris Lind. For District 2, it's I'm sorry, I'm going to say her name wrong, Inui Gillespie Marari. For District 3 and 5 is Carol Sursladen. Hopefully I said that close. And then for Commissioner District 4 and 6, it's Mary Mbola. On to the Mississippi Watershed Management Organization, it would be Commissioner Menz, and then alternate is Schaefer. For the Neighborhood Revitalization Program Board, it will be Vice President Smith. For the Southwest LOT Community Works Steering Committee, it will be Commissioner Schaefer, and alternate Commissioner Olson. For the St. Anthony Falls, once again, incredible candidates here. And I should have said this early and everything. I am trying to do maybe a little bit of change up just to give people more exposure and more voices. So we will have Commissioner Schaefer as the St. Anthony Falls, Commissioner Olson, and then as my presidential appointee will be Commissioner Menz. And as far as the citizen appointee, it will be Paul Riles. For the Youth Coordinating Board, it will be Vice President Smith. I'm not sure that there's any more appointees. There are appointments that we are going out for more applications because one member did drop out of the homegrown Minneapolis board. Okay, on to then our standing committees. Okay, for Administration and Finance, we will continue with the co-chairing, and that will be Commissioner Schaefer and Commissioner Thompson. On that committee then will be Commissioner Menz, Commissioner Musich, and Vice President Smith. On Recreation, it will be chairing solo will be Commissioner Menz, and vice chairing will be Vice President Smith. And then also on that committee will be Commissioner Elper, Commissioner Olson, Commissioner Thompson. On the Planning Committee, we will once again do co-chairing, and that will be Commissioner Abene and Commissioner Elper on that. On the committee as well will be Commissioner Olson, Commissioner Schaefer, and Commissioner Thompson. On Operations and Environment, it will be chaired by Commissioner Musich. Vice President will be Commissioner Menz. And also on the committee will be Commissioner Abene, Commissioner Elper, Commissioner Schaefer. Legislation and Intergovernmental will be co-chaired once again by Commissioner Abene and Commissioner Olson. And on that committee as well is going to be Commissioner Menz, Vice President Smith, and Commissioner Thompson. As far as Standards and Conduct, I am appointing to the chair Vice President Smith. And the vice chair would be Commissioner Musich. On that committee as well is going to be Commissioner Abene, Commissioner Olson, and Commissioner Schaefer. I will note, I think all of you might have received it and everything, that just people to get to know each other better and also just to build on our collegiality. We are changing the seating assignment, so hopefully everybody got one of those charts. So, did they? Oh, no, they're about to. Sorry, thank you. So, I thought for tomorrow night and everything, we will move then. So, on that, unless there's any more discussion or on the agenda, I will then declare the meeting adjourned here at 5:20. Yeah, really. Did I miss something, anybody?
Nope.
Well, you might have time for a drink with us.
Yeah, nice work. Glad you made it.
You guys can make